Wow, this is great. What is this?
Oh, it's lemon chicken.
Oh, man. Wow.
Yeah? You really like it, huh?
I could eat this the rest of my life.
Hey everybody, welcome to my channel, where this week we're going to be taking a look at the lemon chicken from Everybody Loves Ramen, which is featured a few times throughout the series. The key components to this are chicken, lemon, butter, and wine, so there's really not a lot of places to go wrong. We're going to start by pounding out 2 boneless, skinless chicken breasts. I want to get them about a 1/4 inch in width. Then we're going to bread them. We're going to use just a half a cup of all-purpose flour in a shallow dish like a dinner plate. And then we're going to add some salt and pepper. I also chose to add some lemon pepper into this just to add a little additional lemon flavor to our lemon chicken. Chicken breasts don't really have a ton of fat or flavor to them by themselves, so it's really important to try and get as much flavor and seasoning into this flour mixture as possible to really make sure we're imparting a lot of flavor. And then just try and spread your flour mixture as far across the plate as possible so that you can really get a good even distribution of that flour. So you're just going to want to take your pounded out chicken breasts and dredge them in the flour. Want to make sure that you get a good solid coating on each side. So when you flip it, it's also good to try and get a little extra flour on top. As you can see me doing here, try and get the sides. And then just set those aside onto a clean plate in the meantime. Now we're going to put a pan over medium-high heat on our burner and add 2 tablespoons of extra virgin olive oil to the pan. Want to make sure that the olive oil gets nice and warm before we add our chicken. In theory, I could fit both chicken breasts into this pan, but not without crowding the chicken. If we crowd the chicken, we run the risk of, rather than developing a nice crust on the chicken, it just steaming by all the residual heat. So want to just do one at a time for these purposes. I like to roll my pan around a little bit, try and get that hot oil into every nook and cranny and really establish a good brown, crispy crust on the outside. So about 3 to 4 minutes each side, and then we're going to flip it. Again, I'm rolling the chicken around, trying to get more of that oil onto the bottom of the chicken to get a good crust on each side. So chicken should be cooked to about 165 degrees, and then I'm putting this into an oven set to warm. If it's a little under 165, that's fine, because it'll keep cooking for a few degrees once taken off heat. I'm adding a 1/4 cup of dry white wine, that's a Pinot Grigio, to the remaining oil and chicken fond at the bottom of the pan. That extra chicken is going to impart some really good flavor. And just whisk it and get all those pieces off the bottom. Now I'm adding a 1/2 cup of freshly squeezed lemon juice. That's the juice of about 2 lemons there. And then I'm just going to stir that and bring it to a boil. Now we're going to be adding a 1/2 stick of unsalted cold butter cut into pieces. And just get that into the pan and start whisking it. Want to make sure we're constantly whisking the sauce to avoid the sauce breaking and becoming oily. If it does become oily on you, just add a few drops of water so that the butter particles have something to bind to. That's typically what happens when a sauce breaks. Too much water evaporates and it doesn't have anything to bind, and so it separates. Now I'm just testing the sauce to see if it coats the back of the spoon to make sure that it's thick enough. And it is. So we're going to turn that off of the heat and add 2 tablespoons of drained capers. Any additional brine that gets in there isn't going to be a big deal. We're just going to stir that around a little bit and make sure we impart that caper salty flavor into our sauce. Now in the clip, we didn't really see what they were actually eating, but I assume they would be adding a little pasta. They are Italian after all. So I just cooked a little bit of spaghetti to add to this, and we're just gonna set our chicken breast on top. You can see that one got a really beautiful crust on it, and start spooning the sauce over it. And I like a lot of sauce, so I gave myself a generous portion there. And then I also added just a little bit of torn parsley for a little color and a little flavor. This is kind of a yellowy dish, so a little extra green never hurt. And then just a few lemon slices on the side for show. And it turned out beautifully. And now we're gonna see if it makes its way into the Clean Plate Club. As you can see, this dish clearly made its way into the Clean Plate Club.